Today I'll walk you through the steps on how to make this gorgeous junk journal available from my Etsy website, collagetype.etsy.com. This one is called Vintage Romance. This is what I'll show you how to do today. Pockets, lots of embellishments to put in. Little envelope. Let's get started. Using this kit called Vintage Romance, available from my Etsy shop at collagetype.etsy.com. Here's some pockets and elements, some more journal cards. I printed on the back side of some of these things depending on what I'm going to do. Little envelope. These can be journal pages for a double bookmark or journal cards, whatever you'd like to use them for. Here's these bookmarks where you can cut them out as one piece or separately. One piece you could fold them together to make a cover. I have another video. Here's some, I had fun doing these like tab tops and bookmarks. I printed on the back side there. And then this is 8 different double journal pages. So you fold these in half. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do that today. And then, so you actually get 16 of these. So we're going to have some fun creating this. I have everything cut out and inked. The sides I'm going to use, I have all my journal pages done. Everything's done except for this last piece, which I thought I'd show you how I did it. I'm going to take my corner punch. I think I'll do the small, I think I'll do the medium. Just go around, make sure it's in there flush on both sides. When that's done, you take your ink and your inker, and I use white cardstock when I'm printing, so sometimes I don't always cut out accurately, and this is great. Inking gets rid of that, any mistakes, and even if your lines aren't perfectly even or smooth, some pieces you have to cut out. You can't use a cutting tool. So this ink helps hide imperfections and flaws that you might have, or the white cardstock. So I'm scoring. I already scored this one, but I'll just show you. I'm scoring on my scorer each of the journal sheets, folding them in half, burnishing them like this, so that each one will be like this. I've taken each one of my journal sheets, folded it in half. I rounded the corners, inked all the edges. I've placed them in the position I want them. I've double checked to make sure they're all going in the same direction. I took one of the journal sheets and cut it in half and rounded those edges. And this will be the front. I really like this image. And this will be the back. So when I'm done, it'll look something like this. And now I will glue these together. I'll show you how I do that with the first one. I'm going to use a glue stick for this. I really like using a glue stick. I like the affordability. I like how you can, if you make a mistake, you can lift it up real quick. I'm going to try really hard to get these on as straight as I can. So I'm going to get that. I'll probably have to come back. I want to get always the edges and the corners. I can also show you how to make a little pocket in the journals. So open each page every time and make sure you're doing it right. You just put that on there. You're going to glue white or back sides together. So you only want to print on one side of these journal pages. I'll show you how to put the glue down to make a pocket. So instead of gluing the whole thing, you'll just glue along the edges. Like maybe this much, maybe an inch, inch and a half in. Like this. So all this is unglued. Again, can't tell you enough. Open every page before you glue it. Make sure they're all going the right way. Then I like to take this burnisher just like that. I'm going to glue the front on, and so I have all of the pages glued. Some of them are a little bit sticky, but they won't be once they dry, especially if you keep opening it. But you also want to give it time to dry. So that's what the inside will look like. You could even make a pocket how I showed you. You could do one at the top for the front of your journal. But for this video, it's pretty basic. So I'm just showing you the basics, how to make a journal. And from that point, I'll do a little bit of embellishing, but I don't do a lot of embellishing. This is more a tutorial on how to make one, but the embellishing is the fun part. So because we're going to put a paper spine along this edge, these are the edges you want to try to line up as best as you can. The front edge. So now our journal is ready, this part anyway. So going to go back and we're going to clean it up a little bit around the edges. Any white edges showing, like right there. Maybe my paper got cut a little shorter. Here's a pretty substantial one right here. So I'll just take this and clean it up, just like this. It's real easy to do this. The good thing about this is it is a junk journal and it's not meant to be perfect. Then you can go ahead and ink any edges, small ones that don't need to be cleaned up, and then you'll be ready to put on the spine after it dries. My journal's ready to have the spine put on. I had a piece of scrap from cutting, but you could also just print out the decorative sheets. This happened to fit perfectly, but I may have to trim it after I glue it on. I don't think so though. I think it's going to be a perfect fit. So I took it, I scored it. The first thing I did was I measured it, eyed it up like this, and then I marked it. And that's where my score lines would be. Then once I scored it, do like this. I like to fold those score lines a little bit before I burnish the edges down. Just make sure I don't make a mistake here. So now this is ready to be a spine on my journal, and I'll glue it down, but before I do, let's just make sure it's going to fit. I'll open it a little bit. I did such a good job. Oh yeah, perfect fit. So there you go. So I'll glue that and let it dry. I'm inking the edges of my spine. The folded edges can be inked after or before. Then you put the glue on, which I already did, and then I remembered to ink the edges. Let me just make sure. We'll put this on like this, right at the top. You can make your spine you could make it wider if you want. This was just a piece of scrap I had, and it was a perfect fit. So I decided to use that one. Go like this after it's glued on. I'll show you how to make a pocket. It's very easy. So you take your scorer or score it on with your ruler, line up these lines. Each one might be a little bit different. So you're going to just score like that. You don't have to score, press real hard. And I've numbered these to make it pretty easy for you. Bend all 3 edges back, 1, 2, and 3. If you need to do any trimming, you'll trim it up. So it looks like this. More like that. We will take the inking tool and ink these edges. Take the burnisher, burnish those edges till they're nice and crisp. Take the journal. Let's find a good page to put that on. So I'll probably put that more on a plain page. Or I think I'll put it right here in front. So you're just going to kind of decide, do I like it there? Yes, I do. Take the glue, and you're only going to glue the edges. Start with that one, which is what I didn't do. Start right there. And glue them pretty good. And then got a little bit extra glue right there. Let's wipe that off. And I don't like to go to the bottom of the edge. You may, and that's fine. Do it however, what you love. Experiment. And that pocket is done. I'll show you how to do this sweet little envelope. So I saved the directions that I cut it out from, and you know this is the top because this is going up. So when I cut it, I took my corner punch and punched those corners so they'd be nice and clean. And then I already scored it and inked it. So I'm folding it now. Here's fold 1, fold 2, fold 3, and fold 4. I also printed on the inside so when you open the envelope it looks like that. So here's the back. So we will take this and just put a little dab of glue right there. A little bit more. I'm going to do it on both sides. This will go around all the edges here for fold number 3. This is pretty basic, and that's it. This is so sweet. And there's directions included, but you can see it's fairly simple. So that envelope is done. There it is, and that can go anywhere inside of your journal. We'll put it like there. And I've created several little things that you can put in there that will fit. And you can write on them or send somebody a little note on them, and there you go. So that's done. I've made these for the first time. I never made anything like this. There are 2 sides. They're like a little tab you would find on something. on an office envelope or something like that. You just fold those in half. Take one of these or make one. And we're going to put it just like that. So we'll glue it. I'm going to glue both sides here. There's two of them, so this one we're just going to take it like this. And I'm going to eye it up. So you want to put the top right there, that, and then fold it down. And then when it dries, look it, you can go like this. Put a hole punch, and there you go. Now I've made these little pieces here, and I fold them in half like this, ink it, ink that folded edge. I didn't score these because you have to kind of eye it up when you're inking it. Ink the inside. We're going to, whoops, use these as an embellishment too in the journal. You can write on these, stamp on these. I'm going to stamp on one. I'm going to do that folded edge, ink it too. I took these little tiny alphabet stamps and stamped out the word beauty on this little piece right here. This is why I like to keep all these scraps. Look, I started to do it and ran out of room. I'm going to ink it. I'm going to put it in this one. So what I'll do, see there were directions on that back side. And I want it in there when you open it or in there. I think I want it down here for fun. Put it kind of at an angle. So there's one embellishment done. Glue it really good. Only on the one side. How fun is that? Hey, remember that pocket we didn't glue? Look at that. I took this ruler that I created that comes with this, and I'm going to do it on this page and wrap it around to that page. I folded it, measured it, that little edge, but I'm not going to glue the whole thing down. I'm going to glue part of it because I'm going to make it like a little place to hold a little something. So maybe like this much, and I'll glue this whole short edge. But this bigger edge, no, I'm going to leave it. So then I'll take it, see what I'm doing? With that fold, I'm gonna get it in there nice and even. Just set that in there like that. I'm taking a bookmark, I punched a hole in it. I cut a piece of ribbon and I cut the edges slanted. I have this ribbon. Let me show you what it is. Snug seam binding. I like it because it's real sheer. Put this back in our pocket, so that's pretty fun.